Thank you for joining me on the journey. This is Completed Christianity. So, welcome back. Another episode of Being Complete, and today is Shabbat. So, we continue on with our validation of the law commentary, and today we're back again in the book of Romans, which obviously we will be for a long time because we're only on chapter 3. So the book of Romans, and today we're going to move into chapter 3, and we're going to be talking about judgment. The judgment of the Father and his ability to do so, his right to do so. And in doing that, we're going to be looking right here in the book of Romans. The book of Romans. Did that work? Okay, yeah, that worked. So, the book of Romans, chapter 3, it continues on with what was going on in chapter 2, the end of chapter 2, talking about Jews and circumcision and what it is to be a Jew, that it's not outwardly, it's inwardly, and same with circumcision, it's not of the flesh, it's of the heart. And so he continues on with that. And so then he says, what then is the advantage of the Yehudi, the Jew? Or what is the value of the circumcision? So he says, much in every way. But that's not what we say today. We don't say that there's an advantage to being a Jew. We don't say that there's an advantage in circumcision. In fact, we basically say the opposite. In mainstream, modern, westernized Christianity. And so when you start putting those terms in, can't you see how watered down and how diluted things have gotten through the jumps in cultures and the jumps in times and centuries and millennia? And so all these things watered down. But so he says that there's an advantage to being a Jew, and there's an advantage in circumcision. And he says, because firstly, indeed, they were entrusted with the words of the Mighty One, which is what he said in chapter 2, that they were given the word. They were given the word. And he says, for what if some did not believe? Jews. What if they didn't believe? Shall their unbelief nullify the trustworthiness of the Mighty One? Let it not be. So just because he chose them and some didn't believe, does it nullify the trustworthiness? Or does it nullify that we can trust in him if he's not able to convince us as a people that we should follow him, that we are his creation? And so he says, let it not be, but let the Mighty One be true and every man a liar. So in unbelief, there's a lie involved, because if people actually knew the truth, they wouldn't be in rebellion against the Word, against the Father, against the Messiah. They would not be in rebellion. And that's like saying that if you really knew that gravity worked, that you wouldn't be in rebellion to the law of gravity. So, because you know gravity works, you're not going to step off the cliff. You're not going to jump out the plane without a parachute. Because you believe in the law of gravity. But the thing is people rebel against the Father because they don't believe in the law of the Father. And we'll finish up with that. So, let it not be, but let the Mighty One be true and every man a liar, as it has been written, that you should be declared right in your words and prevail in your judging. So this is a verse from Psalms, and you is the Father. That the Father should be declared right in his words and prevail in his judging. So that, he he is true, his judgments are true, and so he will prevail in what he judges. But if our unrighteousness establishes the righteousness of the Mighty One, what shall we say? Is the Mighty One unrighteous who is inflicting wrath? I speak as a man. So he says, I speak as a man. So to declare basically it's his opinion. Okay? But the thing is unrighteousness establishes righteousness. So if our wrong establishes the Father's right, establishes the Father's righteousness, then does that make it to where he's unrighteous to judge us for our wrong? Is what he's getting at here. Okay, so is he unrighteous for inflicting wrath, his judgment against us, if our wrong establishes his righteousness? So he's saying that just because we do wrong and it establishes righteousness of him, that doesn't exonerate us. Okay, we're still at fault. We're still to be judged, because he's not unrighteous for judging us because we do wrong, if that wrong establishes that he's right. So he says so he says, unrighteousness, who is inflicting wrath? I speak as a man. Let it not be. Otherwise, how shall the Mighty One judge the world? So if he's unrighteous because he judges us for unrighteousness, even though our unrighteousness establishes his righteousness, then he can't judge the world. Okay? If he's unrighteous because it's wrong for him to judge us. No, it's still right for him to judge us because we're still breaking the law. But thanks be to him that he sent Messiah, and that in Messiah we can be made right, we can be made whole, we can be justified, and so that our debt can be paid. For if the truth of the Mighty One has increased through my lie to his esteem or honor, why am I also judged as a sinner? So he's still going on with this. So if I tell a lie that increases his truth, then why would I be judged as a sinner? Because I did good for him, even though I lied. So this is convoluted thinking. And you can't, just because a wrong may produce a right, that doesn't make the wrong right. And why not say, let us do evil that the good might come, as we are wrongly accused, and as some has claimed that we say. So why not say, let us do evil that good might come? And I've heard modern day preachers even say this, that if you sin, that grace may abound. Sin it up that grace may abound. No. Okay, we don't do evil that good might come. Okay, and he said that they were wrongly accused, and some said that that's exactly what they say, that you do evil that good might come. And it's probably being said in that case because the apostles following Messiah were contrary to the oral tradition. And so the understanding in the first century was that the oral tradition was the law of Moses. But the oral tradition was not the law of Moses, it was the law of the rabbis. It was just twisted to show that it was the law of Moses. But the law of the Father is the law of Moses. But all these things that the rabbis added, not the law of Moses. So that's how they kind of played the semantics in the first century. So he says their judgment is in the right, not the judgment that they're making, the judgment that they're going to get. That because they've wrongly accused them and claim that they say that if you do evil that you do evil that good might come, you sin that grace might be, you sin on purpose that grace might abound. So no, that's not it. That is not it. That's not the intent. What then? Are we better than they? Not at all, for we have previously accused both Yahudim and Greeks that they're all under sin. And so he's saying that even though they made this false judgment, it's we're not any better. There's maybe a false accusation, but we've also made accusations. So we're not any better than they. An accusation's an accusation. And so he says that he goes on to give all these quotes from Psalms to establish that all are under sin. So they all under sin. We all need the Messiah. We all need his saving work. As it has been written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is no one who is understanding. There is none who is seeking the Mighty One. They have all turned aside, and they have together become worthless. There is none who does good, no, not one. Their throat is an open tomb. With their tongues they have deceived. The poison of adders is under their lips, whose mouth is filled with cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Ruin and wretchedness are in their ways, and the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of the Mighty One before their eyes. So the fear of the Mighty One is what we have to have. We have to have the fear of the Mighty One, and it is not, he is not our good buddy that accepts us the way that we are, our friend in the heavenlies that just wants to do everything for us, and we do nothing to improve for ourselves. No. All through the scripture, it said, fear him and keep his commandments. Fear him and keep his commandments. Fear him and keep his commandments. But the thing is through our modern methodologies and stuff, we don't fear him. We don't fear him. But there is a very real fear that we are to have. A very, very real fear that we are to have to him, to his word. His word is the judgment that comes, that will come on us, that will come down at the judgment. His word is that standard. It's the only standard there is. It's the only way that he can judge us. Psalm 89:34, my covenant I will not break nor alter the word that has gone out of my lips. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Comment down below. Comments of opposition are welcome. Just don't say anything dumb like we're not under the law or under grace, because you've been taught to use that verse outside of the bounds of its intended context. Subscribe now. Smash that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you get notifications of all future videos.